What's up, everybody? We are finally back at it again. I went on vacation. Ian tried to go on vacation. We're going to talk about all of that in this podcast. But the biggest thing we're going to cover this episode is the list. The list. Why haven't people released the list? What are they hiding? Why? It's ridiculous. So, of course, we're talking about the best fast food fried chicken list, obviously. And so we're going to discuss that, and we're going to give you the lowdown on the list. Also, we'll talk a little bit about this Epstein thing, but really, it's fried chicken. And Ian's opinion on fried chicken is wild. And so let's get into it. Don't cancel us because of this episode, please. We love you guys.
All right. We're back at it, guys.
Woohoo!
Great, great. I'm just, slightly crooked here, but that's okay. All right. So Drew, how was your vacation?
Fine. Yeah, it's good. Lots of family, lots of heat. I'm more lobsterish than I used to be.
Where did you end up going?
We were in Hilton Head, South Carolina. Um, Not my favorite place for a vacation, just because I'm probably half of the age of the average um clientele of Hilton Head. So it's like bicycles and golf and beach. And I love golf. I can't afford golf anymore, but I don't like the beach. Really, it's hot, it's sandy, and like I can be there for 15 minutes and be like, yeah, that's it. I've been to the beach a lot growing up, and so like the magic has worn off years ago. What about you?
Yeah, well, we were going to go to the Dominican Republic, and then we had some issues with our flights, and we had to change those plans. And then we were going to go down to the Siesta Keys in Florida. So we went down to Sarasota, and we actually stayed in the Ritz-Carlton for maybe half a night, but their AC was out.
Oh
So
no.
yeah, the Ritz-Carlton I renamed to a less forgiving name. Um, and in the middle of the night, we just decided to pack up and leave because it was too hot for the baby.
Yeah.
She couldn't sleep. She ended up throwing up everywhere. So, um,
Are you getting refunded?
yes. So at least the Ritz-Carlton was doing that for us. They refunded us for everything and whatnot. But yeah, first time staying at the Ritz, you think, okay, you walk in, there's Lamborghinis everywhere, there's like all of these hoity-toity rich people, and then you get to your room and the AC doesn't work. You're like, what
Yeah.
the, what, what is
I
this
could have
shit?
gotten this at a Motel 6.
Right, exactly. And then the customer service was terrible as well. Like at one point we asked for a bag, um, just like a plastic bag or a trash bag so that we could put like the dirty diapers in. And the lady at the front desk like just left, and we were just standing there for 15 minutes, and she never came back. So we were like, okay, we're just go to our room then, and hopefully you guys can bring this to us. But yeah, that was the customer service that we were getting at the Ritz. So
Hmm.
we just said, let's drive back to Orlando in the middle of the night and postpone it. So
That's interesting.
that was our first vacation with child, and it did not go well. To the point that my wife just thinks that vacations with very small children are not viable. So I wanted to ask you,
Yeah, man.
what have been your experiences vacationing with your little one, and how how do you survive?
Yeah, honestly, Isabella's great. She has a hard time sitting still in the car for any length of time, beyond like 20 minutes. And so trips take a little bit longer. She has recently potty trained, and this time down was traumatic because um we prepared and we were like, okay, It's a 4 hour car ride. She's gonna need to use the restroom. Let's just put a diaper on her. But now in her mind, she's like, I can't do that anymore. And so it was an intense, probably 45 minutes of like, just go in your diaper. Oh, I can't go. Just go in your diaper. It's okay. I can't go. Yeah. But once we're down there, she's great. She loves the beach. She wanted to be there every day, all day, every day, and then the pool when we weren't at the beach. She's a very social being, and so having grandma and grandpa there and the uncles and aunts and cousins and stuff, it was Disney World for her. So she was loving it. I, knowing that I'm not a beach guy, knowing I really don't care about any of that stuff, I planned ahead. So I brought some discs for disc golfing and brought some extras so that my brother-in-law and my dad and I could go play. And they did one round and they're like, oh yeah, we need to go buy our discs now. And so we went to play it again sports. We went 5 days in a row, and I lost a disc every day. Not always me. I let my dad borrow one of my drivers, and then it ended up in Alligator Swamp somewhere. We just decided it's not worth it. I'll just buy one for $8 or whatever I need to at Play It Again Sports. So, disc golf ended up being more expensive than normal just because of all the lost discs. But had a lot of fun. I'm a little bit better now than I was before. So that's probably the biggest positive of the family vacation. Um, as far as like vacations with kids, Isabella's great. I am bad at vacations. As a business owner, I have a constant anxiety of like I need to work, I need to work, I need to work, I need to do stuff because if I don't do stuff, then I don't make money, and then they take our house away. And so I was proud of myself. It was only a couple of nights that I was up till like 2 in the morning working on stuff. But the rest of the time I was able to be pretty present for the most part, which was a win for me. But now I'm back and just nonstop terrified.
No, I mean that is good that you were able to actually relax a little bit, and have that vacation. Especially it being a family event where you're going to be around a bunch of family, and um, just being able to be in the moment there is pretty cool. Uh, Hopefully we will be able to vacation in the future. It was just I think it was just so hot that she couldn't sleep, and um, my
Yeah.
wife my wife was just really worried. She's like, "Am I doing this vacation for me?" And I'm putting my daughter through a bunch of stuff that she doesn't want to. Does that make me a bad mom? And then we
I
leave
get
at 1 o'clock in the morning, right?
it.
You know. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to the next time we try this out,
Yeah.
because
Have you thought
I
about trying something somewhat close by, that you guys could just maybe an hour or two away, something, and then you guys could just chill out for a couple of days with the safety blanket of if something falls apart, we're close to home and we can go right back. Because you guys are like in the vacation capital of the world.
Yeah, so Sarasota is probably like 2.5 hours away. So that's basically what we ended up doing is we drove down to Sarasota and then uh, drove back within a few hours. But I think what we're going to start doing is maybe some day trips or just like an overnight thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that's more for my wife than it is for Natalie. It's just giving my wife the peace of mind that no, Natalie actually likes this. Vacations are fun, and everything else, but
Have you
yeah, it
all been
was.
to the Clear Springs, like on the way to Ocala? I got family that lives in Ocala, and like whenever we're down there, we'll go out to the Clear Springs that are usually right between Ocala and Orlando there.
I haven't been there yet. I mean, there's so many different things in the Orlando area, which is really nice. Yeah, you've got the Clear Springs. It's just a few hours from the beach, either way. right?
Hmm.
And then you've got SeaWorld to do more like touristy things and whatnot. So um, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean there is a bunch to do. I think it's just the first time that we have this experience. The Ritz-Carlton doesn't have an AC unit going.
Like that.
It was just it was traumatic. The baby's
Yeah, that's got to
throwing
be the
up.
worst of luck.
Yeah, yeah, the baby's throwing up everywhere, right? So it's like, you know, um, but yeah, hopefully the next time we attempt this, it'll be it'll it'll work out a little better. But it was really funny to just see like just you pull up into the parking lot and you see Lambos and like McLarens and all these rich just like insanely expensive cars, and then you're like, oh, they're all staying in a place that doesn't have AC tonight.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Dude, I do have to tell this story. I snapped out of vacation mode very quickly. So, I've been looking for a truck for months, because I had my work truck for my business. Last year, the brakes locked up and I skidded like 40 feet in basically underneath a cement truck. It was pretty awesome. So lost that, and I've been borrowing my dad's truck all year. And we had decided at the beginning of the year, like August is the deadline. And I've been praying, I've been looking, and um, my uncle is a car salesman up in Indiana. And he texted me, he's like, "Hey, I got this truck." He texted me Monday of our vacation. And I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting one." And I put a deposit down on it, just to hold it. And then the next day he called me. He's like, "Hey, by the way, that's got a bad transmission, and it'd be $9,000 to repair that," which was like more than half of what I was going to be paying for that truck. And so he's like, "But do you mind if we hold this and we'll try to find another truck for you within the week?" So we found a 2016 Chevy Silverado 1500, a little more than I wanted to spend, but it's all right. It's gonna do the job. I'm excited about it. But the thing is, I flew out of GSP at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning, which means we had to drive home Friday afternoon. We got home around 11:30 at night, and then we had to wake up at 4 a.m. so that we could drive to GSP so I could get in the airport and get to the plane on time. And I went from GSP to Washington, D.C., with like an hour layover, and then got on a plane to Chicago, and I had a 40-minute layover, and I had to cross like 4 or 5 concourses. And then as I got to my gate, they were loading the group right in front of me. And so it was like perfect timing. And then flew into South Bend and got to South Bend, picked up the truck, signed the paperwork. Of course, they wanted to charge me like a $200 extra a month for all this stuff. And I was like, no, I have insurance and I got mechanics around me. I'll be fine. Business manager was kind of ticked off, but I went with like the bare bones, the cheapest out the door package I could get. And then immediately started driving back. And it was like a 12-hour drive when it was all said and done. So I went a full 24 hours nonstop. Um, on Saturday. Went to bed at 3:30, 4 a.m. back here at my home in South Carolina. Woke up and went to the afternoon service at church. And then a group of them wanted to go disc golfing, and I was like, "Hey, I've been practicing. I'll go disc golfing." I was so, and then I crashed that night, and I have been sick ever since then. So
Oh, oh, crashed like mentally.
yeah,
I thought you meant
no,
you
not
crashed the
physically.
truck. I was like, oh no.
No.
I
Although there were
bet you
times
crashed the
driving
truck. Oh,
back. Yeah, there were times driving back at like 1:30. I'm like, "Oh, I'm so close. What am I? Should I just pull off and sleep, or am I going to be worse if I sleep for an hour and wake up?" And then I got stuck on I-40 behind a semi going 30 miles an hour in a one-lane construction zone. and I got stuck behind him for like 45 minutes. Then at that point, it was like, okay, now I'm an hour and a half away. I just got to push through it. And so I'm driving home. But I made it. Uh, but now we're on Wednesday afternoon and I'm still not recovered. And I have a whole heap of work starting tomorrow for like the next 6 days solid of uh, manual labor. We're doing our gutter cleaning route, and it's a lot of work. And it's going to be 90 degrees every day. So this may be the last recording we ever do outside of a hospital bed.
Together. If Drew passes away, I'll continue the show in his honor. Don't
Yeah.
worry. Uh,
Just make sure that every episode starts with "in memory of Drew" for like at least the next month.
oh yeah, we'll carry it on for like years, to the point that people are gonna, who the heck is Drew? Well, Drew was the guy that was here for the first couple of episodes,
Yeah.
and then he literally worked himself to death.
Yeah. Man, this is a lesson in fatherhood. Like, know your limitations and then stop. Stop there. or or a little bit less.
No, that's great. I'm glad that you finally got a truck that you're going to be able to use and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that type of investment is going to pay dividends for you, right? As you get to the point where you're, like you said, you're booked solid for the next 6 days. This is going to be something that kind of continues on. Having that reliable transportation uh,
Yeah.
is is going to be huge. So I mean that is great. Coming off the heels of a vacation and you know not really getting any sort of sleep, and then going into a jam-packed work session is not ideal. But hey, we do what we need to do for our family. So
Yeah, man.
that's what good dads do.
Dead dads. We'll see which one I am at the end of this.
Uh, all right, Drew.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about it, driving all that way and whatnot, and just thinking about a lot of people have fast food like hot takes,
Yeah.
that I think the world should know what ours are, right? So do you have anything that you would either consider a hot take, or like you are taking a stand when it comes to this fast food restaurant or item?
Yeah, man. I've been a fat kid for most of my life. I've been around the block when it comes to fast food. And here in the South, we love chicken, a lot of fried chicken. I am going to say something that has made me many enemies. I'm not I'm not afraid. Chick-fil-A overrated. Completely overrated chicken. It is okay, here's where Chick-fil-A wins. They have good service, they have a good business model, they have built a cult around their brand. Sorry, Truett, Kathy, your chicken sandwich is mid at best. It's okay chicken. The waffle fries are good. Lemonade, whatever. But the chicken is mid at best. If you want real good fast food chicken, you're looking at Popeyes, Zaxby's, or Bojangles. All of those are in a tier above Chick-fil-A.
Ooh, I mean, thank you for serving this up to me, right?
Did we just get canceled?
Oh, I,
Christian canceled?
I may get us canceled from the Carolina markets here. Uh, I actually agree with you that Chick-fil-A is pretty mid. I do like their spicy deluxe, right? That's got a little bit more flavor to it. The problem is they don't bread their chicken enough,
Yeah.
um, and that really ends up hurting them. I do not like Bojangles. Bojangles is awful. It is terrible. It is a tier F fast food restaurant every time. And I know people in the comments, they're going to say, well, Ian, you're in Florida. You need to come to North Carolina and get Bojangles in North Carolina. It's completely different. The problem is is I've only had Bojangles in North Carolina. I only get Bojangles when I go to North Carolina because I'm like, this is a North Carolina staple. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the last 5 times I've had this Bojangles, it was an off day for them. But no,
So what don't you like
Bojangles,
about it?
the chicken is bland. The biscuits aren't really that good. I like there's nothing that stands out that's like, hey, like this is really good. Um,
Their
it's
fries
just
right out the oven.
okay.
That's pretty
Maybe
awesome.
the 5 times I've gotten Bojangles, none of the times they've given me right out the oven. I don't know, but the fries I've always been like, is this what it's all about? It may be because of the expectations that I have, because I see everybody in the Carolina culture talking about Bojangles, and I'm like, oh man, as a Panthers fan, I really want to be a part of that, right? So I go there and I'm like, bam, Bojangles. Ah. Now Cookout, on the other hand,
Dude,
Cookout is delicious.
dude, I don't know
Cookout
what they
is
do to keep
here.
their food so cheap, but it's amazing. Cookout, like as far as fast food restaurants, that's my go-to because I can afford it. It comes in quantities that are enough to fill a grown man, and it tastes delicious. I don't know what they do, but they're awesome at Cookout.
Well, and then you can get so much variety that it just kind of hits all of the cravings that you need all at once. Like, hey, I want a quesadilla, a snack wrap, and a
Yeah, man.
chili cheeseburger. Like, okay, cool, awesome. Here you go. Oh, that was $3.
Yeah.
You know?
And their
Yeah.
shakes. Their shakes are amazing.
Yep.
Like I'll tell you, they work the old sucker muscles quite a bit. But yeah, those shakes are great.
Yeah. No. So, yeah, I may get us canceled, but yeah, Bojangles is not it. Now, Bojangles, if you hear this and you're like, Ian, we cannot have you spreading this misinformation online, and you want to show me what good Bojangles is, reach out. I am okay flying out to Charlotte, having a press run, and you guys showing me what good Bojangles is. But until then, F tier. I would rather go to KFC than Bojangles. And KFC is also terrible.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, what is the worst chicken you've had? Because seriously, you gotta have had worse than Bojangles in your opinion.
From fast food restaurants,
Yeah.
probably pro but the problem is I don't go to a lot of fast food restaurants for fried chicken, right? I've been to Churches. Churches is great. I love Churches. If it yeah, Churches is way better than Bojangles.
Dude,
I'm
dude,
honest. Churches,
dude.
Churches is way better than
Churches is
Bojangles.
literally that was on the tip of my tongue. By far the worst chicken I've ever had. I've been
You
there.
need to go back to Churches.
There's a church that's right next to the hospital here, and the most notable thing that happens there is people get shot like all the time. There's nothing good that comes out of Church's chicken.
That
My
tells
wife and
me
I
that
one
tells me
time,
it's worthy chicken, right? People are like,
no, they're
hey,
so
I'm
angry
going
at
to
the
get
garbage
shot
that
over
they were
this
just
chicken.
served. They're so angry. They're like, "This is it, and I paid $22 for this." No,
Okay. I
dude.
will say the worst chicken. It's not fried chicken, but the worst like chicken restaurant is the chicken tender restaurant. Where all they do is like the chicken tenders, and they've got the sauce. It's like Zaxby's, but it's not Zaxby's. What is that?
Like Wingstop?
No, it's just chicken tenders, right? It's not. It's like long tenders. It's not. Let me see here. I'm gonna look
Chicken.
it up.
Well, while you're doing that, while we're talking about overrated fast food restaurants, Whataburger has moved into town recently and they're taking the community by storm. I think Whataburger has a cool brand, a cool name, way overpriced burger. Um, I've I've been there 3 or 4 times since they moved in. with the same idea, like maybe this will be better. No, none of it's been great. It's all just like meh. And I'm spending $30 for my wife and I to eat. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
It,
I had Whataburger when I lived in Texas for a little bit. Not a huge fan of it. It's good drunk food, right? Like it is like greasy as all heck, right? They're open 24 hours.
oh yeah,
You got the big pieces of Texas toast to like sop up the grease. But outside of that, not great. But what I was talking about was Raisin Cane. Raisin
oh
Cane
yeah.
is
I haven't been to Raising
terrible.
Cane's.
It's awful. The chicken itself is terrible. They don't season it at all. They rely exclusively on the sauce, and they know that they rely exclusively on the sauce because you have to pay extra for the sauce.
I hate
And they
that.
know that you're going to pay the extra for the sauce because if you don't, you're just not going to get anything from it because it's terrible.
Speaking
Um,
of sauce, like cookout sauce again is amazing. It's probably my favorite of all the signature sauces. Like everything cookout does is classic.
yes, I think Cookout's great. My favorite burger is sorry, my daughter wants to join in the conversation. But no, my favorite burger is Shake Shack. I think Shake Shack has
Okay.
the best burgers. Um, they are expensive. It's more of it's less of like a let's get something quick and cheap before we get home, and more of like a hey, like let's go get a burger.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think Shake Shack has the best burgers. I've had In-N-Out. In-N-Out's overrated. Sorry,
It's the
I'm
same deal
creating.
with Chick-fil-A. Like it's a great brand, a great system. It's okay food.
Um, yeah. I mean that pretty much covers my fast food takes.
We
Outside of
have a
Taco Bell being one of the best ever, even though it's disgusting.
dude, Taco Bell used to be like the greatest fast food restaurant for a college guy ever. And then suddenly it costs $18 to just eat a standard meal there, even with like their special box or whatever. And so I've avoided Taco Bell for a while now. Like the last two times my wife and I went, it was $40. It's like this is unnecessary. Taco Bell, we know Taco Bell's niche is that they serve food that is slightly graded slightly higher than dog food. That's okay. Everyone knows this. That's their niche. They should charge accordingly. But something happened recently where they're like, "Oh, well, let's charge some premium prices for our dog food." And it's ruined the magic for me.
No, I agree. I want like a $1.79 5-layer burrito. Like that is what I want. I don't want a $5 5-layer burrito that has the same quality that it did at
Yeah.
179. Because the inconsistencies in Taco Bell were kind of the fun part of it because you're not paying a lot and you're like, oh, is this bite going to be only sour cream? I don't know, right? Now it's like I'm paying $5, $6 for this. If I get a bite that's only sour cream, I'm mad. You know, I'm
Yeah.
I'm going full Church's chicken on the register here because I'm not paying $6 for no sour
Yeah.
cream.
Exactly. All right, sleeper fast food restaurants. Jack in
Mm,
the Box.
yeah,
I don't
yes.
know why it gets so much hate. Jack in the Box is goated because you talk about variety at Cookout. Jack in the Box is that times five, and you could walk away with like sushi or tacos. Like it has everything, and typically it's 24 hours too. It's when I was allowed to make my own eating choices before I got married. Uh, Jack in the Box is one of my staples in life.
Oh yeah, the bacon ultimate cheeseburger comes with two patties, two different slices of cheese there. You get extra ketchup, extra mustard. Oh my gosh. And then you add it with some jalapeno poppers and
Dude, yeah,
some of the goated tacos. Those are the best tacos ever.
for
I
real.
yeah, it is
And
it is it is cat food in a terrible shell that has just been sitting in fryer grease for 5 hours. It doesn't matter. You put a little bit of sour cream on there and you put their hot sauce on there, and now you have the greatest concoction
yeah,
ever for a taco.
dude, I would go through like two or three turkey clubs a week. 'Cause when I worked Walmart DC, I'd get off at 3 in the morning, and my buddies and I would go and grab Jack in the Box, and then go and play like UFC or something on PlayStation until like 5 a.m. every day. And so, yeah, like Jack in the Box built this body.
That's why I'm Jack, but it looks like I'm in a box.
Yeah.
Uh,
One time,
uh,
my dad got one of their specials that they had images up all over, and I think it was like chicken tenders or something. And he ordered it, and it didn't look anything like the picture. And he went and complained about it because he was really hungry and ticked off. And then the manager's like, "No, that's what it is. Yeah, they changed the recipe. It doesn't look like the picture anymore." My dad wrote this 3-page handwritten letter that started out, "Dear Jack or whoever's in your box." And then they, he just wrote this long thing. He was so ticked off that the chicken tenders looked different than the picture, which is that's not normally who he is, but he was extra hungry that day. Hangry.
I got kicked out of a Jack in the Box. Me and my friends, we decided to just end up being workers. So we started sweeping up the lobby, and then we moved behind the cash register, and we started sweeping and cleaning behind there. And then one of our friends just got behind the cash register and started taking orders. Uh, the workers were laughing a lot, and then the manager comes out of her cubby like, "Oh, you guys got to get out of here! I'm going to trespass you and everything else." And we weren't filming it, right? It's not like, "Oh man, this is going to be great content" or anything
Yeah.
else. We were just bored, and we saw we saw the broom that was out, and we were like, "Oh, let's let's sweep a little bit." That tells you.
Crazy thing is, the manager knew you guys weren't workers because you were actually sweeping and taking orders, which is totally against Jack in the Box.
No, yeah, we went around the drive-through after they kicked us out to see if we could get some food, and the drive-through guy was like, "Man, we can't serve you," but that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen, and that just tells you the level of uh, coolness that I had in high school. We
Yeah.
thought we thought working was was something that was like edgy, you know?
Well,
Uh,
man, you were in a rap video, so.
yeah. Look, that was post high school, right?
Oh,
I think we grow and we end up developing different parts of our personality, right?
the
So
video
I
you
just
sent
ended up
me, it
getting
looked like you were
cooler and
14.
cooler and cooler
Yeah.
after high school.
That video you sent me, you looked like you were 14 in it.
Yeah, no, I was what 21 or 22 years? Yeah. Look, I've looked when when I shave this little peach fuzz here, I go from looking like I'm 19 to looking like I'm 14 again. We
Just
we
the
went
perfect
into a
area.
my wife and I went into like a pita pit type restaurant one time, and the owner was like, "Oh, is are you sending him off to college?" And we're like looking around, we're like, "Who are
No.
you talking about?" And they're like, "Your son." And I'm like, "Oh, we don't have a son." And she's like, and then he was like, "No, that's your mom, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, geez, no, that's my wife, and my wife doesn't even look old. I just look perpetually young, so I feel bad for her on that. But
Yeah.
in 10 or 20 years, they're going to be like, man, how'd you bag that 20-year-old? And no, I'm actually in my 50s, but thanks. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, my underrated fast food restaurant and the best chicken is Jollibee. Jollibee has the best chicken. I don't know if you've had Jollibee. It
Oh,
it it started in the Philippines. It's made its way through the West Coast, and it's moving east. It is amazing. Not
I've
only
never
do
heard of
they
this.
have the best chicken. They've got the spicy chicken, which is great. They also have spaghetti, right? And they give you gravy to dunk the chicken into, which is great. And they have these delicious ubi pies or ube pies. Um,
Is it the Filipino one?
yeah, they
Whoa, I gotta
are
check this out.
so
Filipinos have great
good.
food.
Yes, they are so good. Um, They're so good that Anthony Bourdain did a thing on them.
Dude, I'm trying to see the closest one to me. We
All
may
right,
need to record from there next time.
we're we're going to do we're going to go live as Drew drives the 16 hours to get to the closest Jollibee, uh, just so that you can get all of
Yeah, it
this
looks like
experience.
Texas is the closest right now. You would
Yeah,
think
I mean it
somewhere
is.
around here. Nah. Man, you would think like Charlotte or Columbia or something would have it. Nah.
Orlando just got their first one last year. I was
Okay.
telling because we have it it's been in Washington, right? So I've had it in Washington. And I was telling my wife about it. I was like, look, we gotta go there this weekend because
Yeah.
we've got a Popeyes that's right down the street, and Popeyes is good chicken. Like they know how to do chicken. They don't know how to do customer service, but that's also part of like the Popeyes experience. Like being
Yeah.
afraid to order, right? Uh, you know. Um, but yeah, so going to Jollibee, and I will let you know what she thinks of it. But yeah,
Interesting.
that is probably the best chicken as it pertains to like fast food fried chicken that you're going to be able to get.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
have to check that out. Next time I'm down in Florida area, you and
yeah,
I, you'll have to give me the tour.
exactly. We're going to have to do that. I think we're just going to have to do some taste testing, right?
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
I think we're going to have to get some churches. We're going to have to get some
No,
bojangles. We're going
dude,
to have to get uh,
you would have
some
to pay me a lot of money.
Chick-fil-A.
You'd have to pay me a lot of money to eat churches again.
Man, it's just better than bojangles.
No.
I know this sounds sacrilegious, but I mean, it's just better.
So,
Yeah.
I do think we would be remiss if we talked about fast food and didn't discuss Long John Silver's. Do you know the story behind Long John Silver's?
I do not know the story behind Long John Silver's. Tell me the story.
Have you ever seen a busy Long John Silver's?
Yeah.
Exactly. There is still a very high chance that they are being propped up by illegal activities as a money laundering scheme. So it started during the Prohibition era, and there are a couple of Johns involved. Big John, I believe, is the one who was the moonshiner alcohol smuggler, and whoever Long John Silver's is named after the founder. It's a long story. I can't remember all the details, but they got hooked up together where one guy would run the moonshine and then the money would be laundered through Long John Silver's, the restaurant. And then uh, to avoid the government's prying eyes and figures, they then just franchised all over the country, just like ridiculously easy franchise costs, and they popped up everywhere. And to this day, they they don't have enough business to keep the doors open, but they keep going on. And no one can really trace it, but they do know after the Prohibition era, there was a switch, and it may have been during the Prohibition era that they also switched to illegal marijuana uh, sales and transfers there. And so, it, from its foundation, it was a front for like mob transfers and things like that. And that is a known part. What's not known is that relationship still continuing because those restaurants are never busy and the food is only so. It's one of those things like if you walk in to go get food from them, they're like, what are you doing here?" That's because it's because they're not really built off of customers. They're built off of their money laundering scheme.
Yeah, I like Long John Silver's. I think that well, I think one of the reasons why I
That's why
like
you like
them
Church's chicken.
is is everything is made to order because they can't like have things out because
Right.
like nobody comes, right? So everything is always fresh, right? Which is
That's
great.
true.
And like they changed their breading, like the way that they like do their batter. Um, like I think it was like 5 years ago, and ever since they did that, like their fish and chips are really good. Um,
Really.
I'll, I'll do it like once a year or something because I'm not a huge fish and chips fan, but knowing that I'm propping up a mob business is also based. So like yeah, awesome. Cut me
If we
in.
ever get into like
First,
investigative reporting, I want to I'll do a deep dive on Long John Silver's and mattress firms. Both
oh,
of those are very questionable.
Long Johns. If you guys want to be our first sponsor, we'll just stop investigating.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow,
exactly.
what? Went away. How did that happen?
Guys, we looked
Actually,
and there's totally nothing shady going on.
have you ever gone to a Long John Silver's that wasn't busy? Every time
Yeah.
I go there, it's like there's a million people there.
Lines out the out the building, wrapped around down the block.
See, this is a sponsorship opportunity you could get with us
Yeah.
if if you're really, washing the money. We're good. We we keep our mouth shut if you know what we mean. Um, all right. So let's actually jump into some Panthers football because training camp has been upon us, and there has been some really great things happening. Um,
Yeah, a lot of talk about the wide receivers. Uh, like I haven't heard any negative stuff about a wide receiver except Dan Chisena, who was what was he PUP, and then he got cut, and we signed someone else that I don't remember who it is off the top of my head. But like Hunter Renfro seems like a lock for the roster, which is I'm excited about that. The fact that he can be 2 years removed from football and still come back and look as sharp as ever. His route running looks nasty in the drills that they're allowed to show us. And then he's also returning kicks and punts, which is a valuable thing for us. So I like that. Jimmy Horn again has had a lot of good conversation about him. Of course, T Mac has looked amazing in the throws that we've seen. So I don't know. I'm excited. Wide receiver room looks to be one of the deeper rooms we have, which is not something we've been able to say for probably a decade.
well, and the great thing about that is it's not like they've just been dominating the DB. Like there's been some really good back and forth with the DBs. We're just better at the position than we were last year. Like just plain and simple, we are better at the position than we were last year. And Bryce getting that second season in the system, um, and then from there being able to go through and understand the language. I think Peyton Manning recently had a thing where he came out and said, every new system that someone like a player has to learn, they're learning a new foreign language, right?
Yeah.
So year two being in that system, understanding what where they need to go with the ball. I think Ryan Clark said this about Joe Burrow, right? When you look at um, when you look at Allen, when you look at Mahomes, when you look at Lamar Jackson, they're really good at getting something out of nothing, right? Um, Joe Burrow is the best at finding where something is and getting that something every single time because there is going to be something there. You just have to be able to identify it, right?
Hmm.
And I think Bryce has that opportunity in this offense to find where that mismatch is pre-snap, really be able to manipulate the defense, either with his eyes or some pre-snap motions, and really put these wide receivers in the best position for them to succeed because we have a lot of talent. Like Renthro is going to get open.
Yeah.
Um, T Mac T Mac is going to come down with the ball. Like that one-handed catch that he had, um, it's just his his catch radius is ridiculous. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
And Thielen always gets open, especially in the red zone. Like we have dudes that can separate now, finally. And
the
Xavier Legette in college had a great separation stat. It wasn't so great this last year, but he's still fresh to the position, so we can hope for the best and hope for growth there. But
and then and then you're able to create schemes around his strengths, right? T Higgins and Jamar Chase have different strengths, but you're still able to scheme around both of them so that they
yeah,
can be successful, right? To scheme around Leggett so that he can use uh, his amazing athletic gifts, right? Put him out in space, and as long as he's catching the ball, it will put him in a really good position to
yeah,
succeed. Um,
yeah. I think
now,
the addition of Rico Dowdle is going to be huge for our passing game because Chuba is solid, uh, but it's just not his strength. Like he's a violent downhill runner, and Rico is going to be the Darren Sproles type for us, I think, where he's going to be able to catch 30, 40 passes out of the backfield and run with it and just limited snaps on the field. He'll still have plenty of opportunities and he'll definitely be getting open against linebackers.
yeah, well, him and ETN has
Yeah.
been really good thus far in camp, right? So if we can get a rotation there, where Chuba is our big yardage, just like hitter, right? Like he is there to be nasty, to go through the tackles and to just wear down the other team.
And win the game in overtime.
Ooh, uh, yeah. Uh, Hopefully this year, we'll win that game in overtime. Um, but yeah, I think being able to have that aspect and then being able to have a rotation of backs that can split off to the slot, can do a lot of things in the backfield pre-motion wise, and can catch the ball. It is just going to open up every aspect of this offense, which is really going to be cool to see. Speaking of Chuba, um, getting into a fight with Tevin Wallace, let me tell you, that is what I want to see. Let's go, right?
Yeah.
Because when Josie Jewell, he was released, just because he's trying to battle back from injuries, and the thought process is he wants to have other people have that shot during training camp and everything, and then once he gets healthy, we'll be able to sign him back, hopefully. But I mean, still having concussion symptoms this far
Yeah.
removed
7 months
from
later.
games, I don't know if you can count on that. To have a guy like Wallace who came in and popped Chuba to the point that Chuba wanted to fight him, and then afterwards, uh, the media asked him about it, and he says, "Look, if I got rocked like that too, I'd want to fight as well." Like that's the type of tenacity, and that is the type of like attitude that I need from my line. He's been texting Shaq all off season, right? And he's been talking to Luke Kuechly. If he can get right with the additions that we've had to our front four, um, like
We need him. We need him to
yes,
take a huge step forward
yes,
because, frankly speaking, we probably have a bottom three linebacking room in the league right now, which is already concerning because we had the worst defense in NFL history last year. And so losing Josie Jewell was a big deal because he was the only competent veteran that we had last year. And so I don't know. I know people talk about was it Rosenbaum, that he could be a similar player to Josie Jewell. He doesn't have the experience starting, so we're really gambling with that. So if Wallace can come in and be the guy that, like we saw the first two or three games that he started last year, where he was just making every tackle, then he fell off. But if he could be that guy consistently, that will go miles
well,
for our team.
you know what we had the first couple games last year? We had Derek Brown.
No, he
So
was only in there for like the first half of the first game.
oh yeah, no, that's true. But I do think having that type of presence up front
Yeah.
is definitely going to help the linebacking core, right?
Both
I
the Brown bros, Derek and Bobby, having both those guys up front is huge for us.
yes. And then having a pass rush too. Princely beating Icky. I, I I don't know if that's like a yes, let's go Princely, or it's like a okay,
You see Princely's video about that?
yes, yeah,
He's like,
I
no,
do.
Icky's a great left tackle. I'm just like that, bro.
Right,
Well, I hope
which
so.
is which is the attitude that I need.
Right.
Um, but still, it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, Icky, this is that time, right? I know that
It's year
this
4 for
is
him,
your
isn't
home.
it?
This is your home. You want to be here long term. If you are going to get an extension, we need to see you progress. We
Yeah.
need to see you be that actual cornerstone piece of this offensive line because we do have a pretty good offensive line. This isn't like year one where you came in and it was like, okay, well, nobody. I can't blame you for not blocking people because nobody else is blocking people
Yeah.
either, right? That's not the case anymore, right? So we'll
I
see.
think if we look at the offensive side of the ball, I think Icky, the tight ends, um, and maybe Bryce would be the only question marks. And Bryce being, is he going to be second half of last year Bryce, or is he going to be the first year and a half that we saw of Bryce?
Yeah, and to be honest, in this training camp so far, what we've seen is Bryce is going to be that second half Bryce that we saw, and JT Sanders
I've heard
is going
great
to be
things
really
about
good at tight end. We
him.
called it. We told you, sleeper, JT Sanders, and he is showing out in training camp. Yes, it
Yeah.
is training camp. Like, there has to be some sort of, uh, peel back of the hype. But typically in training camp, what you say is the players that are doing really great. You say this is indicative of what's going to come in the season. They're the greatest ever, right?
Yeah.
And the players who do not do well in training camp, you say, well, training camp is for working on specific areas of weaknesses. So that is why these things are showing up. We don't even know what scenario that they're running through while they're having this weakness. We can't look into it. They're going to be fine. That is how you treat training camp
Yeah.
as a fan.
It's hard to temper expectations. But yeah, JT, he slimmed down. and looks like he's moving really well out there. I think on defense, Mike Jackson's the question mark. I think he played really well, but he got targeted so much because JC was shut down on the other side. And so we have a kind of a question mark with him, and then whoever's going to play nickel for us. Um, and then the linebacking room. I feel pretty confident about our D line this year, if we're including like the outside linebackers and that, because we have DJ Wonham who played really well when he finally got into a groove because he missed the first half of the season, and then Patrick Jones from KC, or no, he's also from Minnesota, and then Tershawn Wharton, Bobby Brown, Derek Brown, then the rookies, Nick and Princely, both of those guys seem like their mindset is awesome and how they're going to attack learning and growing in the defense. So I'm really excited about the line and what we can expect from them. We have that second safety spot. Is that going to be Ransom? Is that going to be some? Who else do we have? Um, we had one other guy who played okay back there. You remember?
The guy that came over from the Rams.
Perhaps. Now all I can think of is Justin Simmons, but I don't think that's it. Because
No,
we need to
I was
sign.
thinking of Alex Cook. Well, not Alex Cook. That was a few years ago. But there was someone who came over from the Rams
We
like
also have
last
Nick
year.
Scott, who's more of like the special teams guy, but I think he filled in.
I'll
But
look it up.
yeah, like we have pretty good confidence in our offense this year, especially with an offensive minded coach and second year in the system and all of that. A lot of question marks on defense and a lot of question marks with our defensive coordinator. So I don't know. I don't know.
It's so funny because everybody in the league is like, man, Evero is such a great um
Yeah.
yeah. So we've got yeah, Nick Scott. Yeah, Nick Scott's got to be the other guy because Trevin Thomas. I don't think you're talking about him because he's a rookie. And then Damani Richardson.
Ah,
Uh,
that's who.
okay,
Yeah, they said Dave Canales said Monty Richardson has taken the biggest leap in the offseason so far.
cool.
But he was undrafted last year. So I mean, like you could go from super crappy to just a little crappy. That could be a big leap. Um,
Yeah, going
does that mean
going
I want him
from
starting?
10 to 60% is a bigger leap from going from 70 to 80%.
Right.
But I still want that guy that's 80% there.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, no, I obviously the pass rushers are going to be a question mark, just because you're relying on young guys who are unproven, and then you're relying on guys who have performed, but last year when they were performing, we were already down by a lot. Like our defense really couldn't
Yeah.
stop anybody, right? So it's you get into this position where it's like I don't know if I can really trust them yet, but what I've seen I like thus far, right? And that's the only thing that I can say there. Um, I don't
Yeah.
know. I think I think our prediction of Bryce Young winning the MVP and the Panthers winning the Super Bowl is becoming pretty clearly evident that it's actually going to happen. So that's
Yes,
that's
that
great.
they just play themselves for the whole season. No pads. Then Bryce Young is MVP, bar none. Uh,
Yeah, he's better than Andy Dalton. So yeah,
yes, yeah. I'll tell you who I'm watching, and I think he and Bryce are going to have similar career paths. I think Bryce is a better quarterback, but Bo Nix and Bryce Young seem to be in the same boat. Like maybe not physically imposing or anything like that, but they're shifty scramblers who can make accurate throws when the need calls for it. Um, they both have highlight reel plays every game. Um, so I That's kind of what I'm thinking as far as Bryce goes, like how Bo Nix goes, Bryce Young can like that's kind of a good comp for him in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, I think in 20 years, when Bryce Young reaches Bo Nix's age, that
Yeah.
we'll be able to look back and see if he was able to play as long as Bo did. Um, but I'm not a big Bo Nix fan. Um, I, he's an Oregon guy. Michael Penix owned him, 3 times, and I mean the guy was like, in his 30s playing college ball,
But
which is pathetic.
stylistically though, they seem similar to me.
Yeah, because Bryce has that old school mentality, right? Like that he has mirrored his game off of the previous generations.
I
Uh,
love how you're talking about Bo Nix being old and then Michael Penix in the same sentence, like Michael Penix isn't also 40.
Look,
That
Michael
was a
Penix played for
geriatric bowl, is what that
Mike.
was.
Michael Penix played for Washington.
Yeah.
I think he was only what 17 years old when he took us to the national championship and they got drafted number 8 overall, right?
Yeah, something like
Something like
that.
that. Look, revisionist history is my key to fame when it comes to sports because I'm
And
going to be
politics.
biased. I am going to be biased. Uh, yeah. So no, um, I think Joe Burrow might be a good track to look for with Bryce Young. Um, yeah, that
Psychologically, yeah, they're similar. Um, they both are just a little bit broken, where like the heat of the moment doesn't really change them that much.
right. Yeah,
Um,
like yeah,
yeah,
they've got that like top end like mental component there. They both don't physically have like the best gifts, right? Like Joe Burrow doesn't have the strongest arm in the world. He's not he doesn't have elite speed or agility or things like that, but he gets like when there's a play to be made, he makes the play. Like that's just what he does, right? And that's the same thing that Drew Brees had. It's the same thing that Peyton Manning had. I think it's the same thing that Bryce showed at the end of last year. Now, is that something that we can project for the rest of his career? As Panther fans, absolutely. He
yeah.
is going to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. He is going to have multiple MVPs and he's going to win a couple Super Bowls.
He just needs to have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
As NFL analysts, it would be premature to have those talks. But this isn't an NFL analyst show. This is a Panthers show. So, Bryce Young, you are going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. We've moved past MVPs at this point. We've moved past Super Bowls. Um, get ready for a really ugly like bronze bust that doesn't look anything like you, um, and a gold jacket, because you are going to the Hall of Fame.
Just retire now. Like it can't get any better than this, Bryce.
But
I do think Bryce is probably already our third best quarterback in our history. He may be behind Steve Berline, but like we haven't had a great history.
it just depends on like Kerry Collins before the alcohol and the racist remarks, or
Ever Kerry Collins before the alcohol? I'm pretty
well,
sure.
Kerry Collins doesn't remember Kerry
Right.
Collins before the alcohol.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was like junior high Kerry Collins.
But yeah, yeah, I think Cam Newton number one, Jake Delhomme number two,
Of course.
and yep, I think Bryce Young is already there, number three now. Yeah, I the old heads are going to say, put some respect on, Steve Berline or Vinny Testaverde because he played for us as well, right?
Vinny played for us for like one season, and That was a wild season. I remember that one. Matt Moore is another guy who I thought he might be something because at that point Jake Delhomme was so bad that when Matt Moore came in, it was like, oh man, this is what good quarterback play looks like. And then he was trash.
We've always had like pretty decent backup quarterbacks. Like Derek Anderson was pretty decent as a backup
Man,
quarterback. Matt Moore was pretty decent as a backup quarterback. Um, Andy Dalton is
Andy.
pretty decent as a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Uh, Baker Mayfield and
Or
Sam
Sam.
Darnold were pretty decent as backup quarterbacks depending on the week.
Honestly, PJ Walker.
Yeah, PJ Walker.
We had a whole
Yeah,
season of just backup quarterbacks.
right. We had a whole 4 year stint of Matt Rule saying, "Hey, do we
Oh,
really need starting quarterbacks in the NFL? I don't know. Let's just trade a lot of like high assets to get backup quarterbacks. Those quarterbacks are actually going to end up being a lot better when they leave, and then they're going to turn into starting quarterbacks. But while they're here, we're going to make sure that they're only playing as backup quarterbacks."
do
Um,
you ever think that like Sam and Baker just call each other and be like, "Hey, bro, remember Carolina?" Like,
oh yeah, I mean, I have no doubt that Sam, Christian, and um, uh, I think Heineke as well.
yeah,
Sam, Christian, Heineke, and Baker Mayfield probably all
Kyle
are on a
Allen.
yeah, Kyle Allen too. They're probably all on a group chat uh, talking about how stupid David Tepper is
Uh,
and how bad Scott Fitterer was and how
man.
terrible Matt Rule is. Yeah,
I think Matt Rule and Scott Fitterer could have really contributed to our fast food conversation.
look, I am really glad, and I'm going to use this as a transition into our next topic. I'm really glad that the Panthers are starting to show some life and that they've turned the corner football wise, um, because it was getting to the point that I needed somebody to find David Tepper on the Epstein list.
Uh,
Uh,
I was like, how
I'm
are you going to
sorry.
get to Epstein Island from here?
I'm
Now I
sorry,
get it.
but it was getting to a point where it's like, okay, someone hack into the system and put his name in there. I
Yeah,
don't know, but we need him out of here. But luckily, we don't really have to worry about that.
yeah.
So
They
yeah,
did it
let's
with
look.
Trump, right? Right?
Yeah, yeah. Or it doesn't exist, right? The Epstein thing never existed. It was just a hoax by the Democrats all along. Um, or it does exist, but and it's really damaging against like a few people, but like stuff about me is lies. Like we can't say that. And well, that's the reason why I stopped talking to Jeffrey is he was a creep. Well, no, actually, it was because he was stealing my help. Um, yeah, can we just talk about the Texas floods and instead of talking about this? Like, well, why do you guys keep bringing this up?
Yeah, I can't. Why do you guys want to keep talking about that pervert there? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. So yeah,
Let's talk
no,
about.
yeah, let's talk about it. What are your thoughts? I don't want this is what Donald Trump is thinking or anything else. Drew, what are your thoughts about what's been going on with the entire Epstein saga?
I still am trying to piece it together. A lot of it does not make sense. A lot of theories are thrown out there, um, and they all have question marks to them. So if Trump is incriminated on in the files, then why did we have so many years of no one saying anything about it when they clearly don't want him back in leadership? And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know because there's definitely stuff there because Pam Bondi is like, hey, we have 10,000 plus hours of child pornography on a laptop somewhere and we're combing through it. Gross, first of all. But second of all, like, okay, there's something bad, okay? And then to turn around and be like, oh, it doesn't exist and why are you guys still talking about this? All right. Well, they found something that they didn't like, probably. I don't know why someone can't just say, "Hey, this is the truth." Yeah, it hurts our side, it hurts their side. They're bad people on both like just tell the truth. Um I there's got to be something more to the story. There's always something more to the story than what we are seeing and what we are being fed. And so I can't say anything for sure. I think whatever includes Trump on there has enough of a question mark in it that Trump doesn't want it brought up, obviously. Uh, but I think if it was something that was obvious, hey, he's paid to participate in these horrible acts, or he was invited and he was in this party doing this kind of, I think the Biden Harris campaign or the Harris Walz campaign would have accidentally leaked it because they've had 4 years to look at it. Um, it's not anything recent. Like there have been people looking at this for what 6 years now, and so the evidence has been there. I feel like when it was politically advantageous, the opponents of the Trump campaign would have done something about it, whether that's Republicans against Trump, whether that's the Democrats, whomever. Um, I do think this Obama conspiracy with the Russian hoax, blah blah blah. That's a very obvious tactic of, hey, stop looking at the Epstein files, stop talking about it. We have a problem over here. Look at what Obama did, and they're gonna. I know this opens up another conversation, but they're gonna try to indict Obama for the very same narrative that the Democrats are saying against Trump in the 2020 elections. It's more or less the same thing. It's just different people doing it. I don't think any of that's going to go anywhere. I think what it's going to happen is it's just trying to. I don't think anything's going to happen. I think it's trying to distract us from the fact that they found something they don't like in the Epstein files. If Trump, here's the other thing Trump has known about these for a while, and then he campaigned on releasing them, and Kash Patel campaigned on releasing them. I know Trump was a little wishy-washy on that in a few interviews I did see, but like Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, all of them were like, "Hey, let's get in there, let's open it up." And Trump's like, "Yeah, these are my people, and I'm gonna let them run with it." Blah blah blah. If he knew that he did bad stuff, then he wouldn't have been bringing these people onto his team that were campaigning on the whole Epstein file. There's no logical reason that he would say, "Oh yeah, these people are going to find evil things about me and make it public. So, yeah, let me put them on my staff."
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, there's a few things there. For that, th- the exact reason why these people were picked is because they're useful idiots that will go along with whatever Trump says, right? And we've already seen that, right? Where their biggest thing was like, man, we need to protect the children. Like there was this huge child sex ring, and we need to get to the bottom of it. And Trump says, no, that never existed. And then they go, okay, it never existed. I'm sorry, but we know that it existed, right? Like we know that it happened, right? Now, to the extent of which, like, who was involved in it and how like large it was and everything else, like, yes, we need to figure that out. But we know that it happened, right? You can't go from I'm going to protect children because they're being trafficked and because like this is like the elites that were trafficking young women, and this is very important to like this is one of the moral stands that we need to take. And yep, you're right, there is nothing there. You only do that if the person who is telling you what to do, you're going to follow blindly, no matter what they say. And we know that's why Trump got a bunch of people who are not qualified for their job to be part of what they're doing, right? Pam Bondi is not qualified for her job, right? Um, Tulsi Gabbard is not qualified for her job. Cass Patel is not qualified for his job. Dan Bongino is not qualified for his job, but
I
they
think the only one
will.
I would really agree with you on is Dan Bongino. Um, like Pam Bondi has years of experience doing basically the same thing on smaller scales, and she just was given the role there. Cash Patel, didn't he direct the CIA? Like, how much more qualified can you be?
No, well, no, he's directing the CIA now.
Or the
He
FBI,
didn't.
sorry.
Yeah, he didn't direct them before. Um, but yes, I mean, Cass Patel didn't have the qualifications to be where he is, right? Dan Bongino didn't.
Didn't
Tulsi
he
Gabbard,
direct large government departments, though, in law
Tulsi Gabbard
enforcement?
has has been thanked by the Kremlin for her for the things that she's done to help the Russian cause, right? She has no qualifications to be
Yes, because the
a
Kremlin is
leader.
very trustworthy.
Yeah, that's why thanking her is pretty insane, right?
Or
Um,
a pretty good tactic to get people who are already against her and the Trump administration to be like,
no,
see,
but
look,
this was before the Trump administration stuff. This was when she was just an independent saying stupid things about um Ukraine before she was ever like being talked about um, as being a Republican or being part of the Trump cabinet, right? It's just because Tulsi Gabbard has been pushing these like Russian propaganda stuff for a lot of her career. That is one of her like things that she likes to do.
it
Um,
just sounds like you're scared of a strong woman in office. That's all I hear, Ian.
no, if 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 I was scared of a strong woman in office, I would love Tulsi Gabbard, because Tulsi is the opposite of that. Tulsi is like so weak. You can tell when she goes up there and she lies about this Obama stuff, and she's just like, okay, well, I have to go up there and just like lie and lie and lie,
Why
and
is it a lie?
because they're taking information that they're making publicly available, and then they are um, coming to conclusions that the information that they're presenting doesn't come to, and saying that it is treasonous and that Obama has committed tried to run a coup on the government, when it's like, okay, no, what you just said is that even though that Russia wanted Donald Trump to win, they still felt that Hillary was probably going to win. So they wanted to keep some of the dirt that they had on her until after she won so that they could release it and undermine her while she was president. Uh, that doesn't negate anything that that has been said, right? And then they say, well, Obama created this like uh, investigation report and said that Russia changed votes. That was never a claim. The intelligence agency never said that Russia changed votes through our machine. The, what they said was, "Hey, we realize that we may be vulnerable for this, and they tried to do it and they were unsuccessful. But we have to become more secure." That's what they said. What they said was Russia did reach out to Roger Stone, and the GBR did hack Hillary's emails, and Roger Stone did work with the GBR to figure out when the best time to release the stuff that they got from Hillary's emails, that would work advantageously for their political stuff. Um, they did work with Paul Manafort. Paul Manafort pled guilty for doing this, right? The Mueller report did end up convicting 9 people of of working with Russia and Russia meddling into our elections, right? So those things did happen. Um, the Senate intelligence report saw that that happened. The the Durham report saw that that happened, right? Um, the the information that Tulsi Gabbard is releasing right now says that that happened, right? But they're saying the intelligence agency is stating that no votes were changed in the machine. Yes, because that is what the official narrative has been since 2016. You can't just create a well, the Democrats said that the election was stolen and that they changed votes. And well, where's the proof of them saying that? Well, they said that Russia meddled in the election. Okay. Well, did Russia meddle in the election? Yeah. Okay. All right. Did they say that Russia changed votes? Well, no. Okay. Were they on record in Senate hearings and in congressional hearings saying the exact opposite, that Russia did not change votes um, by going into our machine? Yeah. Okay. So we can't create a false narrative here and then point to not even new evidence and say, hey, we have a deep state conspiracy here. The reason why they want a deep state conspiracy is because the largest vindication for people who thought there was like this deep state of like corruption going on was the Epstein stuff. So when Trump comes out and says, well, the Epstein stuff is a hoax, there's nothing there. Well, then that means that all of the deep state rumors of, oh man, like there's all these people who are against us and we have to fight against the deep state. There's no evidence of it. The Epstein stuff was the only clear evidence that, oh, like there are some like evil things going on from from like powerful people in the United States that we need to rid of. Now the contention that there was nothing that was released about Trump and Epstein during the 4 years is not true. I mean, we got the flight logs that show that Trump went to Epstein Island and that he flew on Epstein's jet several times. There was the 5 hour interview with Jeffrey Epstein where Jeffrey Epstein says that him and Donald Trump were best friends and that they used to find women together and they had the same taste in women. There was the interview with Donald Trump that was released where he was talking about how Jeffrey Epstein is such a great guy and that they both have the same taste in women and Jeffrey Epstein likes them young and he likes them young too. The problem is Republicans just never actually cared about the Epstein stuff. They didn't. Because they thought, okay, well, this is also going to take down Bill Clinton and like other people as well, right? And now that Donald Trump is saying it never existed, they're waking up to the realization like, oh crap, Trump is the deep state. Trump is part of this. Trump has always been part of this. We voted for him to rid us of like the evils in our lives that we've identified that nobody else has been able to identify, and the savior, the person that we deem as Jesus coming down to save us from the deep state is lying to us, is saying there's nothing here, right? Me as a Democrat, release everything. If Bill Clinton is on there, arrest him. If Barack Obama's on there, arrest him. If Hunter Biden's on there, arrest him. If anybody is on there, arrest them. That's completely okay. If Donald Trump is on there, arrest them. The funny thing is before Donald Trump started to do all of this and whatnot, I didn't really believe in the Epstein stuff. I thought that Epstein was just a creep that liked younger women, that would have Maxwell find younger women for him, and he would, do things with the like younger women. But it wasn't like a ring of, we're having all of these politicians and like people of high high power that are also involved and everything else. And I thought it was more of a nothing burger of like, this is like a projection of we need something that proves that there's a deep state, and this is the closest thing to it because we've tried these QAnon stuff, and the QAnon stuff just doesn't make any sense. And all of those have fallen flat. But this actually has some like legitimacy to it. So let's get around here. Um, and after the way that Trump has reacted to this, and then after searching and realizing that Jeffrey Epstein never went to college, and ended up being like working at Goldman Sachs, working with all of these richest people in the world, and handling their money. He was either the greatest con man in the world who also had an affinity for underage girls, or yeah, he was like the center of like this pedophile sex ring that we need to take all of these people down. And the more Trump acts like this, the more I'm like, okay, yeah, this is how someone acts when they're guilty and they know like there is some bad stuff on there that could leak out. Um, yeah, release it all. Lock lock up anybody who was involved with that, right? I don't care. You cannot have people who have been having like part of sex rings of underage girls and let them go scot free. You just can't like if there's anything that MAGA and Democrats and Republicans alike can agree on is we shouldn't have pedophile sex rings.
Yeah.
Like that's
You
where
would think we
I'm
could
at.
agree on that.
Yeah, like that's where I'm at. Um,
Yeah, the behavior is weird. It's really weird. I think Trump is telling the truth and that there's no list where Epstein's like, "Oh, this is the list of people that I had sleep with children on my island." I think there's a lot of files and flight logs and smoking guns. Um, there may not be outside of like the video evidence and stuff. I don't know. I don't know what's there and what's not. We're
well,
we're
and so
speaking
that's
in
that's
hypotheticals.
the thing too is Virginia Gerfie or whatever she said that Epstein filmed everything that happened. And
Yeah.
when Pam Bondi said, I have 10,000 hours of video of these things happening, that's what she said a few months ago. It's like, we
Yeah.
have video of these things happening.
Yeah, you can't turn around and say it doesn't exist.
And then now she's saying, well, no, it's not video of these things happening. It's video of child porn. Well, those two things are completely different, right? To say we have video of the stuff that Epstein was doing to, well, no, it isn't video of what Epstein was doing. It's just child porn. And we're not like that, that reeks of a cover up here, right?
Yeah.
And with all of the other stuff that we have, right? The other people who are heavily implicated in this, right? Donald Trump, right? Loves to go into uh, uh, like the teenage dressing rooms at
Beauty
his
pageants. Yeah.
at his at his beauty pageants, right? Um, has has talked about how he has an affinity for young girls, right? The Some of the victims of the Epstein sex ring worked for Donald Trump and were introduced to Jeffrey Epstein from Donald Trump, right? Donald Trump saying that he was Jeffrey Epstein's best friend and they did everything together and they used to pick up women together, right? Bill Clinton. We know Bill Clinton is a pervert. We know Bill Clinton like
Well, no.
is like does a lot of like sexual terrible things, right? Prince Andrew. That was something that was alleged of him as well, right? So when you have
Bill
all of the
Gates,
surrounding
Stephen
evidence
Hawking. Yeah.
of like these people are like terrible people anyway, and now this never existed, then it's like, okay, uh, I just have to believe like this reek of a cover up.
So look
And
at this though.
it's
So we have the Harvey Weinstein stuff that kind of just disappeared. Like there were all these cases, and then suddenly Harvey Weinstein, oh, maybe he isn't as guilty as people said. I don't know if you've heard what's going on with that, but like he got released and stuff, didn't he? And now people are like, oh, they were just kind of lying a little bit about that or stretching the truth. And then the whole Diddy stuff, like they've there's a lot of crazy stories coming out of the whole Diddy case, and then suddenly it's like, oh, you know what? He's really not that guilty. And like they found him not guilty on a bunch of the charges, and one or two of the charges he was pronounced guilty on it. Like it doesn't make any sense. Why do you think there are all these like clear-cut cases of sex rings and trafficking rings and in the public eye connected to celebrities and politicians and so on, and then suddenly like that it's gone and we're just supposed to forget that they existed?
well, I think so. Um, I think when they dropped the cases for um, the state convictions for Harvey Weinstein, he was found guilty of sexual assault in new cases. So I think he is still behind bars.
Okay.
Um, but um for Diddy, like this was a case of the people who were there participated in it, quote unquote, willingly, right? And that was that's the kicker, right? Is if you're surrounding yourself with people who are okay with this stuff, right? Then the larger charges of sex trafficking or racketeering and stuff like that will be dropped. And then it's just like, okay, he hired like prostitutes from other states to join in, right? So we'll lock him up for that stuff. Um, I think one of the things, and Immortal Technique, he is he's a rapper that it does a lot of like political um, commentary as well. He once said, "Look, you know, a lot of people in prison aren't there because they're guilty. They're there because they couldn't afford a good lawyer. And the person who could afford the best lawyer and is in prison is the guiltiest person in the prison, right? So when you do have a lot of money and you do have and you're able to have these large legal firms who are not afraid to obfuscate and dive deeper and deeper into things to muddy the waters, then you're talking about people who are like, oh, is this like this isn't as bad as I thought it was, right? Because that's the other thing that happens with these cases is they start off as like a pop culture phenomenon. Like, oh my
Right.
gosh, you hear about what Diddy did? Diddy had all of these like, freak offs where he was drugging all of these people, and it was like, 70 people all together, and he was forcing people to do it, and he was blackmailing people. And then the evidence that they bring is like, yeah, so he would have like these prostitutes sleep with Cassie, and he would watch in another room, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that's not as bad as what I thought it was while I was going into it. Like, oh, okay. And then you have really good lawyers who are muddying up the waters. Um, yeah, I think with the Jeffrey Epstein thing, it's really hard because not a lot of um, victims have come forward, right?
Right.
The victims who have come forward, they're dead now, which is also scary, right? Like Virginia was hit by a bus 3 months before she committed suicide last year. So like I don't
I'm
know,
assuming
right? Like I
I'm assuming you're not going to trust Ghislaine Maxwell's. testimony.
Here's the thing with that is I think that um, sometimes offering clemency to things to get people to talk about things happens all the time in our criminal justice system, right? I
Yeah.
understand that, right? Giving her immunity on future things that she talks about, great. Now, pardoning her would just be like a direct, like, yes, this is 100% blah blah blah. Now, I do have a theory that Donald Trump, if he is this master, like puppet master behind the strings, should pull, right? So what he should do is he should release, like it should leak out that, hey, we're going to release everything next week. All of the videos, all of Ghislaine testimony, everything's going to be released next week. And then they kill Maxwell in prison, right? So they kill her, and then
You can't
because,
refute anything that's been edited.
well, no, what they say is, oh, this memo leaked, and someone from the deep state got the memo, and then they got to Maxwell. We are going to have to investigate how this happened, and until we finish our investigation, we can't release anything because we don't know who we can trust. And then, boom, you have won over MAGA all over again because they're like, oh, this conspiracy is back on, right? This is the ultimate conspiracy. We're back in it. Um, that's that's not what I would do if I was Trump, because I wouldn't be in this position if I was Trump, because I don't like underage women. As I've stated before, sometimes people confuse my wife as being my mom. Uh,
You
so
like cougars.
that is the opposite of what I like, right? But that's my 2 cents there. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think, me personally, I'm just holding back opinions until we know the end of the story, if we ever know the end of the story. Um, all I know is that clearly something fishy is happening because people are behaving weird, oddly. And so, um, that's the only thing I know for sure is there's something weird going on. And until I know what that weird thing is, I really just can only guess, but I can't really make opinions off of guesses because they're those are clouded by emotions.
yeah, but you do have opinions and judgments on like the Clinton Foundation, though, right? Um,
Yeah,
and
and the
and
what 78 people that have mysteriously died connected to them.
all I mean, we have more evidence of the Epstein thing coming out and whatnot. We actually have convictions of that than we do of like the Clinton Foundation, right? So I do think that we can have opinions on this, and that we can hold judgment, because I think the way that we act when we are confronted with um, things that can be damaged is really telling, right? Someone who is not guilty of something, they're okay with. I mean, you see a lot of time people get themselves in trouble talking to the police because they're not guilty, and they say so much that they end up being kind of suspicious, right?
Yeah.
Where the police is like, okay, like, I'm gonna look into you further, and it turns out like they're not guilty, but like they're just so not guilty that like
Yeah.
they're just like, yeah, no, yeah, I I uh I was with Jeffrey Epstein on the tarmac. Oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah, no, I was in physical contact with Virginia. Okay, well, it turns out that they were a bag boy, and they shook the hand Epstein and Virginia, right? And he's completely innocent. Um, what Trump is doing is not what you do when when you're innocent, right? Like this is like the complete opposite. And there's enough circumstantial evidence around it for us to be like, there's a lot of smoke here, and you're acting like this, right? Um, just just as if like um, if Clinton was in office when this happened, and they're like, yeah, so Clinton's been doing this, and it's like, okay, well, we know the Paula Jones stuff, we know the Monica Lewinsky stuff, we know
All right.
like
Yeah. The thing is, like, if he's guilty, lock him up.
right
Um, that that kind of thing, un, that doesn't cause me to hold back on my opinions on the matter.
for sure.
My
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 logical
th
pause is they've had access to these files for a long time, and I know we've said this already, so now we're running in circles, but they've had access to these files. And so why wouldn't they release it when they were clearly at an advantage to do something about it?
well
Like it would have been
because
advantageous to stop Trump before he ran his campaign. Say, "Oh yeah, see all of those things he did in his first term. He was a pervert, and so let's lock him up." And then they don't have to worry about Trump.
well then because if this is true, right? If this is a pedophile sex ring that um these politicians and powerful wealthy people were involved in, if they release the files, Bill Clinton is certainly on there. Right? There are donors to both parties that are certainly on there, right? So for them to leak, things specifically about Trump, and then not like having like the Matlock or the big like smoking gun being released because it may implicate other people. That makes sense to me. Um,
So you
because
think you think the Democrats know who's on there too, and they just have decided to protect their own hide in this?
I think that for me, I think that there's not. I don't think Jeffrey Epstein was running a sex pedophile. Right? I I don't think he was. I think he was probably running a money laundering scheme where he was laundering money for people and doing tax evasion and stuff like that. And he liked young women and whatnot. Um, but if it was the case that he was running a sexual like pedophile ring, then yes, the people in the previous administration would have had the information and they chose not to release it for a specific reason. And that would have been the reason that they don't want to implicate people who are on their side too, right? And this would go into the fact that there's a deep state cabal of people who that would go into that. I don't believe that's the case. I don't think that like if you asked me like a month and a half ago, I don't think Donald Trump did anything wrong with the Epstein stuff, right? Now the way that he's acting, it's like well, I have to rethink of like how I was viewing this entire thing,
Yeah.
um, because of the way he's acting, and I think a lot of people have been doing that of like, wait, what do you mean that this is a hoax? What do you mean that this was created by the Democrats, right? This has been like a MAGA like political point for like
Yeah.
almost like 6 years, right? Um, so I mean that's where I am. And yeah, if it, I think that the best um, plan of action here is just to release everything that you have and let the cards play as they play. If
Yeah.
it comes out and there was really nothing there, will MAGA believe him? Probably not. Like if it comes out and it says like not only did Donald Trump not do anything, but none of the Democrats did anything, none of the wealthy people did anything. It was just a Jeffrey Epstein. The MAGA people are going to be like, yeah, what? You're lying, right? And I think that's the
The
catch
only
22,
outcome they will accept is if only Democrats were pedophiles.
or Trump is implicated in it as well. And then I don't know, and then they may say, well, you know, Biden had it for 4 years, so they alter documents, and they,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's like, well,
Can't
so
trust everything in there.
right,
Yeah.
right, so they
But we can
altered the
trust that the people
documents,
that we don't like are bad.
right. And it's like so they altered the documents to include Trump, but not to take anything away from
Right.
from the people they wanted to protect. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, uh, I think that's the catch-22 that Trump is under right now. It's either this really isn't anything, and it's another one of those things where the Republicans or MAGA was finding an out group to attack and to vilify so that they can be closer, right? Which is something that we all do from like an evolutionary standpoint, is we find out groups that we want to attack, and it makes us stronger as a group of people, even if the facts aren't there, right? It's something that we like to partake in, right? That's one of the reasons why owning the libs is so fun, is because like liberals are evil. They're evil people. We need to own them, right? Same thing with like the owning, the magtards, right? It's like, yeah, we have to own them because they're dumb and they're evil, and it's just. But when that out group is, oh well, you know, um, Rush Limbaugh used to tell people all the time, all of these Democrats are just communists. They have this communist agenda to them. When you're told that like the Clinton Foundation is like this evil entity, and then you have like Pizzagate of, the Democrats are um, the Democrats have their own child sex trafficking ring, and Obama's not the president, or he wasn't born in the United States. He was born in Kenya, and so he's illegitimate. And when you have all of these things and they don't start to line up, right, where it's like, okay, well, the facts don't really line up here, the facts don't really line up here, the facts don't really line up here, and then you get something where it's like, wait, no, this is the saving grace. The facts are starting to line up here, right? Like this this guy who dropped out of college is handling all of these rich people's money, and he's meeting with all of these powerful people, and he was convicted of having sex with underage women in a remote island that people travel to. Oh my gosh, this is the thing that ties everything together, that makes my hatred for the out group valid. So if it
Mhm.
comes back and they release it, and Epstein was just kind of like a con man who himself liked underage women, then it's like, I cannot believe that as a Republican, or as like a MAGA person. I can't believe it. Like, in order for me to believe it, now I have to reject everything that I've been telling myself and everybody
Right.
else
You got
for
to
the last
rebuild your
30
whole
years,
ecosystem.
right? Like you have made this part of your personality and part of who you are. It's just like the far left when they talk about like socialism, and they talk about um like if you know all of these microaggressions. Well, these microaggressions really mean that everybody is racist, and that everybody is, this and that. And then if you take a step back and you're like, well, I don't know if you should be going like this and say this while I say that everybody's racist. That's a okay. Uh, all right. Um, that's a joke, guys.
You're getting
Hopefully,
canceled
yeah,
twice in this episode.
hopefully. I'd rather be canceled over the food stuff.
For the record, I married a Brazilian, so I mean, that's got to give me some kudos, right?
Okay, you could have said, for the record, I'm not racist, but
Uh,
that,
guys,
that was
I have friends that are of other races. I met some people once that are of a different race.
all right. Yeah, we're just going to lay into this bit here. Um, all right, but yes. So yeah, when you have to end up rejecting everything that you have made a part of your identity for the last 30 years, you're just not going to, right? So this is the thing that I think ends up driving the wedge in the MAGA party away from Trump. Now, I don't think the MAGA party ends up leading, but I think it. the looking at him like he is Jesus and that he is the savior, I think ends up being gone, which is great. We shouldn't look at any of our politicians
Used to happen. Yeah.
as if they are like our savior or
Yeah.
that they are, you know, uh, the leader of our cult. Um, so yeah,
I
I mean,
assume that I assume that MAGA will eventually become disillusioned with Trump, and then they'll find some other charismatic individual. I don't think it's JD Vance, but they'll find some charismatic individual that will be the face of the new MAGA party, just like MAGA is the Tea Party of like 10 years ago. Um, they'll they'll find some new face and new branding. It's just how it goes. Well, hello there. This has been another episode of Two Dads, No Supervision. And surely we need some supervision, so please be sure to tell us in the comments what we need to do to fix ourselves. Also, like, share, subscribe. We love you all. We appreciate your attention. Thank you guys, and be good. What a dad would say.